back to Evony with Genghis. We're going to take a quick look at the culture here because we're going to be comparing red subs versus the top 2 gold subs available. Is it really that big a deal to have red subs if you're comparing against Japan and Russian? So reason we're looking here is because this is something small that gets overlooked. Russia culture does give 5% mounted troop defense. That's on attack and defense. And then Japan gives 5% ground troop defense on attack and defense. Now, of course, we have to look at the other thing that they do offer, which is 10% attack and 10% defense, right? So if we look at right here, Japan gives 10% attack only when you're attacking to all subs. And then if you level up, first level up is nothing. Second level up, 5% more. So, 10% defense on offense and defense, attack and defense. And then after that, it gets kind of hard to really ascend them, right? And is it really worth it? And if you look at the full buffs here, there's not too many here, right? Like, you don't get anything at 2 out of 4. You just get healing speed. It's not till you get 4 out of 4 you get an extra 5% attack. So I'm really not liking Japan that much if you got to look at it. The way to get all these subs, obviously, is spend money. But you can get Russia and Japan by spending a very small amount of money. You're also probably going to be able to steal them on the map. If you are going to spend money, use the promo code with Aptoide floating across the screen right now. But let's look at this one. This one ascends really fast. You get an extra 8%. So you're already looking at 5% mounted troop defense both ways, 10%, 8%. And then these other ones, to get 4 out of 4 is going to be pretty tough because it's going to be the exact same thing. You're going to get more trap building or defending troop defense, 5%. That's pretty cool. 8%. So the Russia looks really nice. But what I really want to look at here is, are red subs all that? So I have 2, and we're going to look at the third one that's available now. So we'll have a sample size of 3. So keep in mind that those 10% or 18% for Russia works on all troop types, but only one way, on offense or defense. But it's 40 or 72% on defense, plus that 5%. Now, Alexandria. Let's pretend you're a low coiner and you have one, right? So if you look at me right now, I have 2 subs. Very fortunate. Low coiner, not too big of a coiner. I'm never going to ascend this further than right here. Because right here, I was able to ascend these with only hammers from coining. I'm never going to buy one of these in the cultural sub event and get enough fragments to ascend these. So these are never going to happen. Now, obviously, if you are very, wealthy, big gamer, big coiner, you're going to get all the benefits. And it's obviously worth it to have red subs. But if you look at this is where the debate comes in. Marching range troop attack 30 and HP 30. So that's not working on defense. And that's 30% attack. But if the Japan will give you 40% attack, because it's 10 times 4 different troop types, right? So this is only helping one, arguably the most important. A mounted troop attack debuff. Alliance training capacity, pretty weak. And then march size 10%. That's pretty cool. Now, if we look at the other ones here, so this is marching range attack 8 and HP. So you're up to 38%. And training capacity 5, and then you get a little bit more of a debuff. But these ones, I'm never going to get this. I'm never, ever, see, I got to get converted by Historic City Key. I'm never going to get keys for Rostock. Or Alexandria. I'm just never going to get them. It would be nice. So if I did, this would obviously be better, because you're going to add 25% to that 38%, plus you're going to get this extra 8%, and that's way higher than 40% on the Japan. Plus, even, you ascend that Japan a little bit higher, it gets a little bit higher as well, and range being the most important attack, this would make Alexandria better once you ascend. But with only the 2 ascensions, is it better than a Japan? That's pretty debatable. right? I'm only getting a little bit of debuff. I'm getting the 8%. So I'm at 38%. The big one is march size 10%, but realistically, that's about 100,000 troops. Maybe a little less, maybe like 80,000 troops for me. It's a big deal because it adds up over time when you're continually getting 10% here, 10% there. So because of the ascensions, this is better than the Japan, and it's probably a little better than the Russian. But if you're a defensive player, the Russian one is really nice. You can get that to 18% quite easy. Now, Rostock, 15% alliance range attack, 15% march speed for everybody, and this is for everybody too. This one is only for the owner, 10%, but the owner gets this one as well, so they're at 25% range. And then at the end, mounted troop debuff. Rostock does get luckier early, and what I mean lucky is this is the first ascension and you already get 5% more. 2 out of 4 there, the green one, you get 5% march capacity. And then here, you get another 5%. So Rostock goes up really nice. So that's 10%. Plus right here, 25, and then you get the alliance one, which is another 10. So you get 35. And now these ones I'm never going to get. I'm never going to get these, right? The 15%. So Rostock's nice. You're kind of in the same argument again. Now, where I would say the benefit of having these Rostock as a sub-city is the alliance 10% right here, or 15%. So that's for everybody in the alliance. So arguably, if you have 150 humans in your alliance, that's 15 times 150 players. But Battlefield 20, right? So that's a really big benefit. So this city, I would definitely say, is better than any of the regular subs. Now, is Alexandria better? I don't know. At the highest level, yeah, and probably for a specific offensive player. But for most players who are going to be joining rallies with their team, you're probably better off having a lot of Russians playing defense, upping your defense, and being able to absorb attacks while you join rallies. Because the alliance buffs on this one aren't quite as good. Like you get the training capacity, that's it. Now, let's look at today's sub-city. This was a very nice one. So we'll take a look. It is Borobudur. I mistakenly said it was French. It's Indonesian. The next one is supposed to be the French one. So here it is. It gives you 15% siege and range of all three things. And then alliance, range, and siege 10%. So that's big. If you think of your Battlefield team, that's 20 players who are getting 20% on each side, so 40%, and very important ones, right? The range attack and then siege attack and defense attacking is very high. And then the alliance march speed, again, not too high, not too important. And then enemy range, troop, siege, HP. Very good for the owner. But now let's look at how this is the ascension for it. And the first one, you get 5% more. And then you get 5% more on the very important debuff. Then someone like me, I'm never going to get the rest of this. Most people, most coiners, guys, like most coiners aren't really big coiners. Even whales, like you think of a whale, they're not getting this twice. They're not getting this subsidy 2 or 3 times. So siege, you could just, the round tower here and the Buddha statue, those just aren't going to your normal player. 2 out of 4, because you get the first 2, yeah, attacking range and siege attack, 8%. Yeah, most big coiners who get this city are going to be able to do that just from the hammers in the main event. So this city is awesome and is better than the gold ones. But a lot of the red subsidies are not that much better than having Russians or Japans, because the Russian and Japan help all troop types. So don't beat yourself up if you don't have red subs. There's really only a really big advantage to the red subs if you're a really big coiner who can send them. If you're a medium-sized coiner who can ascend them 2 out of 4, and you got the right sub, one that actually works. But for the most part, most of these red subs aren't too much better, except for the alliance buff it gives. But for the individual player stats, they're not too much higher. But they look cool too on the map, right? Like, who doesn't want to own these? So as always with Evony, aesthetics is a big, big thing, and don't get too roped up in that. But it means a lot. Evony is a look at me game. So I do understand why people do like the red subs, but I personally do debate all the time. Am I better off just sticking with 11 gold Russians? Would that be a better thing? But the one thing I do, I get suckered into it too, is yeah, but it's super cool to have red subs. All right, like, subscribe, leave a comment.